Stay at home? Yeah, no.
No, I can't think of one that would fit the traditional view of a stay-at-home father who doesn't have any sort of job.
I don't think so. No.
In class this semester, we've examined both the power of dominant narratives and the importance of identifying counter-narratives. While there has been much public debate over the length of maternity leave, women in the workforce, and the balance of motherhood and careers, the role of fathers in the home has been a neglected discussion. I realized there were barely any stay-at-home fathers in films, and those that existed all had a sort of caveat. Probably the most famous dad movie at the moment is Daddy Daycare, which is about a dad who is laid off and decides to start a daycare to rival the uptight local preschool. Another favorite is Mr. Mom, which starts again with a laid-off dad who at first botches home care until he becomes the ultimate dad. When I googled this, the other suggestions I got included Geppetto, the toy maker from Pinocchio, Marlin, the clownfish father who lost his wife in the beginning of the film Finding Nemo, and Jack from The Shining, a real quality father figure. As much as movies reflect the dominant narratives of life, movies influence the audience. Because of this, I spoke with some friends to get their opinions on this topic.
They play catch with their sons.
The only thing you're good at is being either absent and a bad father, or teaching your son how to throw a ball, or talking about sex sometimes.
Bread earners, the men always out of the house, earning for their family, not so much taking care of their children, and developing the same close-knit relationships that mothers tend to have with their children.
You have to master the dad jokes.
Sometimes when kids are bad, it's not because they're bad people, it's because they had bad parenting, sometimes from their dads.
A man adopting a traditionally female role.
You're a dad, you can't possibly know how to change a diaper or how to cook dinner.
I think most of the portrayals of men, or like fathers in TV and film, are like the incompetent dad.
The goofy, awkward dad. But like you also kind of get the idea comes across that like dads don't talk about anything serious with their kids.
I think it just continues to perpetuate kind of gender roles in society. Like boys growing up continue to see themselves as, I need to get a wife who will have children, and I can support those children and my wife while she stays at home.
I guess you could say that like media shapes our culture or whatever. I think the lack of fathers in households is what affects young boys, and I think that takes a really bad toll on American youth.
There are few films that show dads at home in a non-comedic light or doing well at their job. When they finally get the hang of it, they tend to surpass the mother's ability and excel at parenting by being unconventional and creative. While the breaking of stereotypes is appreciated, this strange narrative sounds a lot like the undertrained white savior teachers of the films from class. I'm curious as to who benefits from these gender roles and how this ideology affects maternity and paternity standards of corporate America.
I think the company should try to help their employees no matter what.
No.
In the instance of a woman taking time off for having a child, I believe that the company has the right to do so because I believe in a capitalist society, every single exchange of goods or services should be completely consensual from both sides.
I think that's ridiculous. So no.
Companies should be more willing to give women time off for pregnancy and such like that. And fathers too. Just parents in general should have time if they want to have families.
So men don't need to recover medically from anything, so do they need one that's as long as women is my question, but about the same maybe?
Studies show that a father that's active from really early is so much better for the development of a child. So of course they should have the ability to be present.
Those are imposed gender roles, and there's nothing implicitly terrible about a stay-at-home dad.
Because it's really important to have a present parent on both sides.
There are much less stories of fathers being stay-at-home fathers and the mother working. Like, I know kids who have stay-at-home dads, and it was always like a little, like, it's different because you don't, it's not typical.
Because we don't have maternity leave for everyone, but the fact that it even is a thing for many women in the United States, it's really not a thing for most men.
There is a need for greater representation of stay-at-home father role models in films to encourage a social attitude change towards what it means to be a dad.